Hello and welcome to another episode of Between the Studs. I'm your host Mark, and today we're joined by another Mark.
Yeah.
You got Mark Yucko here.
Hello.
Yeah.
Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. Thanks for coming on. We sure appreciate it. But Mark, we've never had you on our channel before. What are some of the things, how did you get connected to the store? What are some of the things you do?
Well, I was briefly on your channel with the train episode.
That's
I
right.
made a cameo.
That's right. So you were on a little bit for that.
Just for a couple minutes.
Exactly. I was thinking
a year ago.
We've never had Mark on, but no, you were on.
Right,
That's
for
pretty
a short
fun.
time. But
yeah.
Yes. So the way I got into Legos is me and Debbie had two children, Michael and Heather, and Michael was into Legos in the 90s. So that's how we got into the Rock Raiders, and Heather was doing the Barbie doll thing.
Yep.
But so he collected what I consider not the classic, but the older, the 90s sets.
Yeah, kind of like the middle child of
Yes.
Lego sets, the 90s and 2000s, right?
Yes, the early 2000s. But then as happens with most teenagers, he ended up getting the fumes disease.
What's the fumes disease?
Car fumes and perfumes.
Oh, yes. Okay.
So he put his Legos aside and moved on to other things. But luckily, we took them all apart. We packed them up in a couple bins, and we saved all the instructions.
Nice.
So we didn't save the boxes, but we saved the instructions, and I took them up to my family farm in Pennsylvania.
Okay.
So years later, I asked him if he wanted to, use them again and see
Get them out.
Get them out. So it took me like 4 months to fly them all home. I would fly up to Pennsylvania with an empty suitcase and just load them up and bring them down.
Yeah.
And then Debbie and Heather and Michael would sit. This was like 2015. They would sit on the dining room table when they'd come home for the weekends and just try to assemble. We had like 100 little sets.
Wow.
And most of them were smaller sets like this. We only
like the $10 sets back then.
Yeah, back then you get a birthday party and you get 5 or 10 sets. So
exactly.
He had about 100 sets, but we kept all the instructions. And then when we finally put them all together, it took us 4 or 5 months.
Wow.
We were missing about a dozen pieces, and that's how we found the Atlanta Brick Company.
There we go. Introduce Atlanta Brick Co.
Yes,
that's awesome.
Yeah, so we came over, and one of the bricks we found was from an old castle set. And it's the sword where...
The chrome sword, yep.
My daughter chewed on when she was 2 years old or so.
Well, they're too young to know any better at that point.
Right. So I have to hang on to that. That's on my desk at home.
There you go.
But
that's awesome.
And that might be part of the reason, because as a father, my job is to embarrass my children.
Exactly.
Exactly. And I was trying to get my daughter to date Mark, full disclosure, years ago, and. It hasn't worked out yet.
Well, we've both been busy, I guess. So,
I'm not sure if it was. I didn't have the right dowry because I didn't have enough Lego goats and elephants. If I would have had more of those.
Exactly.
It might have worked.
These things are hard to arrange sometimes. But
they went in different directions. But who wouldn't want this guy for a son?
Oh, thank you, Mark. I appreciate it. I feel very complimented. Thank you. But so and you also. Since stopping by the store, discovering Atlanta Brick Co., you do a lot of things here at the store, kind of for us and with us, right? What are some of those things?
Well, when Chris and Angie get old sets in an old collection mostly from the 90s, they'll give me the bin and ask me to put them together. So this is what I enjoy. I just working on the tunnel transport.
Yep,
I've got that set at home.
Awesome.
It's in the works, but whenever I get the sets, whenever people bring them in, they're always missing 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 pieces.
Exactly, they're always missing something.
Yeah. So it's a labor of love. It's a good hobby. Keeps me busy.
Well, we sure appreciate it. I know that whenever you bring a few sets built into us, I'm like, oh yeah, Mark brought the good stuff because this is the old classic 90s and 80s stuff. Are my favorite. So I always just love seeing you bring that in. And you also test a lot of electronics for us too, because you got a little bit of a knack for that.
Yes, yes. And here's a tip for all the Lego users: take the batteries out of your toys,
exactly,
out of the Legos when you're not using them, when you're finished using them. So we get sets in here. They're so corroded. But usually I'm able to clean them up and
kind of scrape it off
and scrape them up, and I use vinegar and but carefully, yes. And most of the time, 80% of the time, I could get them working again.
That's awesome.
But yeah, that's the biggest thing is just take the batteries out when you're not using them.
Pro tip: always remove the batteries if you're storing your Lego motors, power functions, anything like that. So.
Yeah, like this has a little battery in it too. And
I think the one in this one is removed because it's not lighting up.
Okay.
But I'm not sure if the battery is removed on that one.
Yeah.
It feels light. Like I think I try to make sure if I'm not actively using the lights that they're not in there. But I think we'll have to see because I'm not seeing any light. Oh, no, that one's got a light.
Right.
It's got a battery in it. I was not good. But you can see the light up function of the set, which we'll get into in a moment. So Mark, you said you like the classic 90s and 80s and stuff. What are some of your favorite themes that you like to see and build when you are getting these bulk bins?
Well, my favorites, trains. That's how I really
trains
got
is your favorite?
Into the Lego. I was on a layover out in Kansas City, and there was a train station out there that they restored. This train station in the back, there was a big, every train club in Kansas City had Lego displays. This is back in 2016 in Kansas City.
Yeah.
And the biggest display was the Lego Club from Kansas City.
That's fantastic.
They had a huge Western display with trains going all around it. So that's where I got the bug back in 2016, and that's how we're working on here. This is going to be a mountain with a Western village and an Indian village on top, and Western, but then I thought we'd have the Rock Raider monster coming out.
Exactly. So this is a build for a scene that you're working on.
Yes.
And it features the Rock Raiders as a kind of a cameo, right?
Yes. But yeah, my favorite sets, M-Tron. I have all the M-Tron sets.
Yep,
and
we've talked about that.
I have all the M-Tron minifigures too that they made.
Exactly, all of them. Yes. I know that's a pretty tough accomplishment these days.
It's an impressive collection, yes.
Exactly. All 1.5 because one's got a backpack,
one has
right?
A backpack,
yeah. That's awesome.
Yes, and so the Western, M-Tron, the Rock Raiders, and the trains. Those would be
some of your favorite themes. That's awesome.
My favorites. My son's into Star Wars.
Star Wars, is a very popular theme for sure. Yeah. But that's cool that you like the classic themes, and that's why we thought it'd be a great idea to have you on the show for Rock Raiders. I know that you have actually built multiples of these. These are sets that you actually built. You brought them in, and I immediately bought them.
Oh, really?
Because I also love Rock Raiders. And when I was younger, I was probably 6 when these were released. So I did not have the budget to get the base or the big chrome crusher or the tunnel transport. I got I remember having this one.
The loader
dozer, and I remember having the Rapid Rider and some of the smaller $10 sets like you were saying your son Michael had.
Right.
But I never had the big ones. But so when you bring these in, I'm often definitely checking them out and making sure I don't need that for my collection, checking off the list. So that's pretty fun. But yeah, now that we've kind of covered the basis for you, we'll talk about the theme here, Rock Raiders. Rock Raiders came out in 1999. It had a number of sets, the largest of which was the base here. The Rock Raiders HQ.
Headquarters, yeah.
And then you had the smallest one, which would have been this hovercraft. It would have included the jet minifigure as well. So that's like 12 pieces, maybe 15 pieces. And then were
they poly bags back then, or
this actually I think would have been boxed.
Really?
And they even had a Rock Raiders minifig pack.
It has instructions.
It does. It has a little instructions. I think it was a box.
It came in a box.
Yeah. I don't think they were doing poly bags, although they could have for that size. But so it had a bunch of different themes, different sets. One of the most unique features about the Rock Raiders is they did several things that were very new for the time. So you have very big chrome pieces, which they'd done a little bit before, but not quite to this scale. You also had the opening and closing boulders.
Oh, is that okay?
So that was new for Rock Raiders in 1999, and they actually still do a lot of opening container boulders and rocks and gems today. So that's pretty cool. And then you have the cool crystal piece, which is brand new back then, and they've continued using a little bit in the night. Was it brand new, or did they have it in the space theme with the chrome green one?
I'll
have to check the date on that, but I'm pretty sure this is one of the earlier uses of that piece.
What about the turquoise?
Turquoise was, I believe, a new color for Rock Raiders. And they used it a little bit afterwards, but it was phased out pretty quickly in the early 2000s.
Now it's coming back.
They revamped it for the Friends and the diner. The modular diner needed the retro teal color. So they brought it back, but for a while, the old teal, which has a slightly different appearance, was gone. It was very expensive. Now it's more affordable because they're making it again. So, which I'm super grateful for. We talked about a little bit of the theme, Rock Raiders. I wanted to get your opinion on this, Mark. I grew up with these sets. These are actually a little bit, not before my time, but like early in my building, enjoying Lego career. So in your timeline, you kind of got into it. You got the bug for Lego in 2016, and you enjoy all the classic stuff. I was curious, with your perspective of all the classic themes, where do you think Rock Raiders fits in that timeline? Because it's like right at the 2000s, but it's still, kind of connected to the old space, but the new stuff has ties to it with like the pieces. Where do you think Rock Raiders fits?
Yeah, it's an in-betweener.
In-betweener, the middle child, right? Yeah.
Yes, between the space and just an offshoot. It's not really Western. It doesn't. It's I'm not sure how to categorize it. And they only made, what was it?
There's like eight or nine sets total, and so it was a one-off. They never made any more. I think the only thing that was extra was the Chief.
But what about the Power Miners? Did that?
Power Miners was connected to it for sure, and it shared a lot of similarities, but there was no direct story connection. So it's almost like a repeating the theme in a different, like a reboot, as it were. So, but so I think I agree with you. It's definitely kind of a middle of the pack. But even now, I think it's over 20 years old. It's a couple, like 23 years old now. Yeah. So it's pretty amazing that, because growing up with these, I'm starting to feel a little bit older and starting to imagine what you must be feeling.
They're antiques now.
Exactly. Yeah. They're starting to get into the antique range.
I'm looking forward to playing with them with my grandson.
Exactly. That's awesome. Years, Let's talk a little bit about the sets. I think I expressed earlier that I had a few of these. Do you have any of the... You do have a couple.
We have almost all of them. I have all of them except for the Chief.
Okay, except for the Chief. So you got all of them at your home, too. These are, most of the ones on the table here are mine, but Mark also brought a really cool creation with him, too.
Right.
But, so you got all of them, too, which is awesome.
Yeah.
I know that when I was a kid, I had the Loader Dozer, which was a really nice little vehicle. It has a cool play function with the scooper. You can move it up and down and move the boulders.
Right.
And it also came with a rock monster, which was kind of not super common in this. It came in a couple of the sets, but not all of them.
Only 2 sets, maybe.
Yeah, it came in the base, I'm pretty sure. It might have come with the Chrome Crusher, too. Yeah. But there's the rock monster.
Yeah. They didn't make... they are movable, aren't they?
Yeah,
okay,
the arm can move.
One arm moves. That's about it.
He can wave, and that's about it. Maybe throw something.
Can he hold anything?
I think he can hold a minifigure because he can hold a 1x2, a 1x brick right there.
All right. Nice.
So
that could add something to my
exactly a play feature. He can be tossing a guy. So it's pretty funny.
Yeah, that's good. All right.
But so I had the Loader Dozer. Was a fun set, and I remember it probably retailed for somewhere in the 20 or 30 range when it was new, maybe a little cheaper because inflation's a thing.
Right.
But now it's probably in the 30 or 40 range, depending on the condition. If it's in good condition, it's probably north of that. So that's a cool set.
Right.
I know one I did not have as a kid was this Chrome Crusher in front of us here. I'll lift it up so the camera can see it.
Okay.
This one was the big bad vehicle on the ground. It just looks so...
That does look great.
Muscular and stocky. It just has this really cool stance. Yeah. It's got the laser on top, and you got a couple different laser options.
Right.
It had the working battery, which is, I think... Would you say that's kind of a carryover from Insectoids?
Maybe. We didn't have too many Insectoids, but... Yes.
The Insectoids also had a battery pack and a light, so this one doesn't make any noise, so it's a lot simpler. Right. But I kind of like it. It's the mining laser. It's pretty cool. It came with the big chrome drill, which was completely unique to Rock Raiders, still is. And so that is on the side. I don't know how effective that would actually be at mining a tunnel, but it's cool looking, right? It's for kids.
Think the chrome would wear off?
Yeah, the chrome would wear off in real life, but I would say that these chrome drills are better, more durable than a lot of chrome pieces because for some reason they're just maybe not like an accessory or not as exposed to other bricks. I don't know. They're
usually in pretty good shape when you see them,
Yeah. And then, so the Chrome Crusher was the big bad vehicle of the Rock Raiders line. So I'm super excited to have one of those now. It has a brown chain, old brown chain, and it has some chrome grill tiles on the engine on the inside. It has a huge V8 in there. So it's pretty cool.
Right,
so.
And the light gray wrench, the big wrench.
Exactly, the big monkey wrench, yeah.
Yeah, the big
That is pretty cool. And so it's got a bunch of accessories. It had the driver axle in it. And driver axle was also in this loader dozer as well. So he was in a couple of the vehicles. Right. And has some dynamite. So that was a cool set. And so which of these sets is your favorite, Mark? What's the one that you really speaks to you?
Well, my two favorites are the granite grinder and the loader dozer.
Oh, you like these two, the smaller ones? Oh, the medium-sized vehicles.
Medium-sized ones. And the tunnel transport, that's pretty cool, but it's a big set. And the other ones are a lot more playable, I think.
Yeah, this one has the fantastic play feature with the loading and unloading and scooping. This one's got the really fun side-to-side leg motion. And
I think you would have a couple of those. You wouldn't just have one. You'd have 2 or 3 working in the mines.
Yeah, you could see these kind of marching out in the morning and start drilling their tunnels. Right. Yeah, these are really fun. And I think this one, even if the legs wouldn't be super agile, it at least would make a lot of sense just kind of chugging along, mining, because it could just be drilling right in front of it. So that's a nice position for that piece.
Yeah.
It's also got what looks like boosters on the back, so it could just go...
Jet engines.
Yeah, I mean, it could go super fast. Yeah. But I remember getting one of these sets a little bit after the loader dozer on Bricklink, one of my first Bricklink buys. Yeah. And so this was really fun as a kid. And all these vehicles were actually in the Rock Raiders video game, which we'll cover in just a minute too. But Granite Grinder's awesome, and that would have been, I don't know if it was more expensive or less expensive than the loader dozer. Maybe it was the same price or similar price. Yeah. It's not too different in parts, maybe a few more or less. But then we've also got the smaller ones. We briefly discussed the Jets hovercraft over here. Right. That was one of the smaller sets. The one set that I actually realized I don't have together is the Rock Raiders character pack. So it had all the minifigures and a little section where they could keep their tools. Right, we have that. But and the other interesting thing about Rock Raiders is, I don't know if you thought about it, but it's one of the only sets that's sequentially numbered in the 4000s. So it starts at 4010, and it goes up, or 4910. 4910. And then it goes up to 4990. And it's not every number, but they're all... Every set is in the 4900s. That's awesome. So it all like lines up perfectly. Yes, it unlike does. Most sets. Most sets these days do not. That is really cool. See, I wasn't aware of the set numbers all making sense, but now that I'm looking at it, 4980, 4990, 49. They might have maybe the tiny sets. They 4950. No, from here it's looking like it's see that's 420. So 10, 20, 50. 80 and 90. So that's really so it actually seems to be making perfect sense from what we see on the table. Lego world is unusual. So they actually had their acts together on the naming and the categorizing of sets. Yes, that's great. For a short period. Let's see. We talked about a couple of the smaller vehicles. We've also got the tunnel transport, which is it's a cool vehicle. I love how they're using magnets again. So maybe they're taking some notes from M-Tron. But you got the container. It can hold a lot of stuff. And that's a new piece for Rock Raiders, I think. Or maybe City had it before. But that's a cool dark gray container. And you could also transport an entire small drilling vehicle under there as well. Let's see if it'll fit. Yeah, those magnet holders, they only come in the yellow ones. So this is unique. Rock Raiders. Yeah. They're hard to find too. So like Mark was saying, that yellow magnet holder in the inside of this vehicle apparently is unique to the set, and that makes sense because they would have been like red or black or other colors. Blue, yes. Yeah. They're mostly black, blue, dark gray. But interesting. So that would also be able to carry an entire vehicle in there. So that's a pretty functional transport. Okay. It's pretty cool. But I would say that that comes with it. Yes, this comes with it. It's on the instructions. It also had a little small hovercraft vehicle, which is not here, so I have to build that, or it's at my place at home and I forgot to grab it. The one thing I would say about... Oh, no, here it is. I misspoke. You can insert it in the back. Oh, okay. Wow. Put someone on it. That's a little bit of a quick build, I think. I don't know. Yeah. It's missing controls, but... Right. So the one thing I would say about some of the Rock Raider sets are a little chunkier than others. Like, this is not necessarily a beautiful set. It's very functional, but whether it's... I like the look of the Granite Grinder and the Loader Dozer. They look a little more meant to be, you know? So, and then I think the final set we haven't talked about is the base. What are some of your favorite features of the base here, Mark? Well, to tell you the truth, this is one of the latest sets I've got, so it's more, we haven't really played with it much. Gotcha. We're getting this
for the grandson. So my son did not have this when he was growing up. So we're looking forward to playing with it.
Yeah.
With little Tony.
Oh, nice. That's awesome. Congratulations. That's awesome. But this actually has quite a few play features, which I think little Tony will love when he gets his hands on it. Is this crane is pretty functional. You can use. See if I can do it right. If you turn these, you can lower it down, pick up a boulder off the ground, and then you could, if it's not already occupied, put it in the container and then dump it out here.
Wow.
So once you're done mining the...
you can transport them.
Exactly. You can set the... should be able to set the boulder right there and have it be hit by this laser.
Comes in.
There you go, yeah.
There you go.
You set it right there, have the laser shoot it, take the crystal out, and drop the remaining... one right there. So the crane is fairly functional in this rig, so you can have a lot of fun playing with that as a kid. You also have the mining laser up here, which lights up. You probably can't see it on the video, but we're able to see a little bit of an amber light on the inside.
Yeah, it lights up good.
You got a little landing pad for your vehicle, and you could park your small truck, which would be right here, in there as well, and that has another dumping feature as well.
And I noticed they're all like individual builds, so the corners come off, and
they can actually be just totally removed.
Yeah,
and that's a building, you know. So yeah, and all these buildings are actually in the game too. So they all have different purposes. The laser shoots stuff. That's you can teleport stuff to the planet. On this one, this is where you store the crystals that melts them down, and then with this big crane, you can upgrade vehicles. So there's all this stuff in the video game that's kind of tied into the sets, which is really fun. Something they haven't really done with Lego sets in a while. Yeah. But so we talked about the sets. One thing I wanted to mention, Mark, is that I think that Rock Raiders is kind of special because back in 1999 and before that, they didn't really name the minifigures.
Right.
So all these minifigures, all the characters have names and even bios. Is that right? 'Cause
yes, according to our Lego magazine from 1999 that Michael got when he was still into Legos.
So back when Michael had the Lego bug.
Right on the front page, they have the.
Exactly, that's awesome. So you have Sparks, Dox, Bandit, Jet, Brickonium, which must be the name of the energy crystals.
Right, Brickonium.
You got Axel the driver, and you got the rock monster.
Before they came up with Unobtainium?
Unobtainium, yes, exactly.
Brickonium.
That is funny. Yeah. But I was really excited to see that, and we also had this instruction manual from the game, which we'll bring up in a little bit. And you can see all the instructions on what's the best idea of how to survive the levels that you end up playing. Here's another poster advertising the computer game. So Rock Raiders had plenty of printed media for advertising the theme. I'm not sure how successful it would have been back in the day. I think it sold okay, but maybe not terrific. There's no second wave. They didn't keep doing it. So.
When I put the sets together, they all come with comic books. But was that just a thing in Europe?
I don't know.
Because I've never seen a comic book.
Yeah, well, I've never gotten a Rock Raider set new sealed. So, because when I got them, they were all slightly secondhand as a kid. So, but maybe they all came with cartoons.
I'm thinking it must be a European thing now. It's possible because I haven't seen one anywhere, and even on the secondary market, I don't see them.
Yeah, I know that the information regarding what kind of posters and cartoons that came with sets can be very sketchy, even on Bricklink and other sites. So we may never know exactly what the situation, unless we are able to contact someone who opened these and really collected these very diligently back in the day.
Well, maybe somebody could let us know.
Exactly. If you know anything about the status of cartoons and posters in Rock Raider sets specifically, or other sets, let us know in the comments. Great plug there, Mark. That's awesome.
Yeah.
We talked about the named characters a little bit. We even went through them a little bit on the printed materials. I guess right now, next, I would talk about the video game, and I'll just describe it for you, Mark, since you weren't able to play this
yet,
I
haven't seen it. No.
Well, so there's good news. If you look up the term Manic Miners, that's the name of the reboot of the video game. Now, however, it's not a reboot in the sense that they changed stuff. It's a reboot in the sense that they completely rebuilt the game but it plays exactly like the old one did. So it's for new computers. It can play on any new computer, but it's designed to play like the old game, which I love because when I was a kid, this is one game that worked on my mom's computer, and I played it for hours, literally hours. And it was the first few levels were easy, but the last few levels I never beat as a kid. And I did beat as an adult on my laptop a couple years ago. And there's still one level that I've never beaten. It's impossible. The lava erodes the ground, and you have to move your base and move your vehicles and stuff, and it's impossible. So, but it was a lot of fun. This kind of is showing off the PC version of the game. There was also a PlayStation version of the game, too. That was a little more limited, more first person. This is more like a grand strategy game. You can see there's the overview. You can see the granite grinder and other view screens going on there. So, yep. But we'll actually quickly, in this video here for you guys, and for the podcast you can hear me describe it, a brief montage of some the video game footage from my computer at home. Hello, this is the part of the show where we are going to dive into the Rock Raiders video game. I'm really excited to show you guys this. This is one of my childhood favorite games, and it's still pretty fun today, especially as it's been rebooted, and we'll kind of talk about that a little bit more as we get into this part of the video. But we are actually in my room where I sleep. This is not where I keep my Lego. If you want to see that, there's actually a great video that Justin and I did a little while ago, and hopefully we can get a little link up here for you guys if you want to go see that video. But now let's dive into the Rock Raiders. Oh, here's the intro video. Alright, so don't know if you can hear that game music. It's pretty cool. This menu is not actually the original video game menu. The original one was just a static image. This one has a lot more going on. It also had an intro video to the whole game, which a lot of computer games from this era had. So you're going to have, in this case, we had a quick shot of the LMS Explorer, and we're right down in the lava. The old game, the original game, you would start out and you'd see this whole video. You could skip it. A lot of LEGO games had that, and we can probably play a quick clip of that for you right now, if we're able to. We have enough layers on iMovie, but yeah, so that was pretty fun. This is more about the gameplay, not about the videos. However, those played a big part of the original game, so worth mentioning. There's a couple different options here. We have Start Game, we have Level Editor, Play Custom Level, Customize Miners, Settings, Credits, and Quit. So level editor and custom levels and customizing miners did not exist in the original game. Those are kind of additions to this new version, this new created version. So I haven't done much of the level editor, but the customizing miners is a lot of fun, and you can unlock a lot of cosmetics while playing the different levels. So the more energy crystals you get, the more money you get to spend in the store, and eventually you can unlock everything. So it's really fun. I really appreciate that addition to the game. So you'll see the Rock Raiders that are running around on the screen in the game are actually ones that I've designed and made. The original ones in the game back in '99 would have been very plain. They had just a basic orange suit and a smiley face, so very simple. You can still do that design, but I like customizing with a bunch of headgear and different prints and stuff, so different colors. You can get really creative with it, so it's fun. Alright, we're going to start. And we're not going to play a whole level, we'll play part of a few levels and kind of give you guys an idea what it's like. This little sub-menu here is not a part of the original game either, but it's really cool. Look at that cool laser in the background. You've got a slimy slug peeking around the corner. You've got it looks like Bandit or one of the other Rock Raiders is holding the crystal, just kind of taking a break, and Sparks is over here mining. And the tutorials kind of teach you how to play the game. We don't really need to go into that. I've already played this game all the way through. The classic campaign is the original levels designed in the original game, so we're going to try and cover some subjects from this. And this is very similar to the sub-menu on the original game. These little placeholder areas would have been where the tutorials would have been in the original game. The builder of this version of the Rock Raiders video game didn't put the tutorials here. Instead, he has those in a separate section. I think it has something to do with coding. I'm not sure, but it doesn't bother me too much. The tutorials were just like you get through them and then you're ready to just enjoy the levels. And each level that you unlock, well, actually,
to power. It's the hold-up. A breath of fresh air.
So when you hover your mouse over the level, it'll read it out that's actually Chief's voice, the figure that we kind of pointed out, or we will point out in this video. So he is a notable character in the game, and I'm glad that they ended up making a version of him, even if it ends up being really super expensive. So let's see, what's a good example? Frozen Frenzy is a really good example of some of the game, but let me do some of the regular Rock Raiders. Path to Power. It's too easy. So yeah, not trying to brag. This one should be good. 5 more energy crystals. Okay, this is a really beginner level, but we'll just at least get an idea of what's going on here. So these are the standard looking Rock Raiders, excuse me. What you start out with? We've got, no, I don't want to drill, well, I guess you could drill it. You can command the Rock Raiders using various controls. I hope that none of these guys perish. We're going to reinforce the walls, because that's the challenge of this level, is to try and not get killed by a landslide. Your little guys have health bars, and they can get injured, and if they get injured too much, they get teleported back up to the ship. They don't actually die in the game, that'd be pretty sad. But looks like our oxygen is good, so we'll beam down a couple of my Rock Raiders. Oh! I'm sorry guys, are you okay? Yeah, they that looked like it hurt them a little bit. So these guys, these unknown miners, are at a little bit lower health now. I might end up beaming them up just so they can go get their injuries dealt with on the ship. So back when we played the game as kids, me and Steven had our own personal Rock Raiders, and we would name them Mark, Steven, and our sister Julia had a character too. So once you play through the game, the skills and upgrades that the Rock Raiders acquire stay with them. So as you can see, Mark here is trained in almost everything that a Rock Raider can do, and he has plenty of space for all the tools as well. The cool thing about this game is they actually have little lights, and these shine, and the lighting effects and the shadow effects are pretty modern versus the old game that came out way back when, so that's pretty fun. You can also play first person, which did exist in the old game. This is a little bit smoother. We're gonna go drill this wall. You can actually just go walk up to it. This is so nostalgic. Drilling the wall doesn't hurt the Rock Raider in any way, but the avalanches that from the stationary walls can. Here's first person, see if we can get third person. There's third person. Look how cool this guy is. This is Steven's little character. You can play as the characters, which is just fun. I think that's kind of, I got carried away. Okay. Yeah, don't want to have all of our Rock Raiders perish from avalanches. You can command them in person, like we could say, this guy, go drill a wall, and he'll go drill the wall, like this one here. Or you can select something and have him do it. Like I just clicked to that piece of rubble, and then I said, somebody clear it. And so somebody gets assigned that job. So here's another energy crystal, very nice. I'm going to turn on the geology, because my Rock Raiders are well equipped. They probably don't have any crystals in here, but we're going to dig them in there. Yeah, the teleportation effects are pretty cool in this game too. There we go. Alright, we're going to drill into the next cavern. And the only reason I know it's the next cavern is because that little red dot right there. There are a lot of landslides happening over here, so I'm going to try and deal with that real quick. Just briefly talk about this. This is the priorities. You can change what the Rock Raiders respond to first. So in this case, I want them to drill the walls before anything else, like clearing rubble or picking up crystals. Hopefully no one died in that landslide while I was talking. Oh no. Okay, good. Reinforce those up. Okay, so some of the rock types that exist in the game, like hard rock, loose rock, dirt. There's a couple different levels, if it were. And the little miners on foot can only mine certain things. They can't actually get through hard rock, for example, unless they use dynamite, which is very hazardous. So the game will kind of train you to get through. Oh, this guy's about to just get sent up. Oh. This one is seemingly a little difficult, so. Oh. My character just got sent up because of a landslide, so the game still goes on, but I've been morally defeated at this point. Ah, it's another Rock Raider gone. Better beam a few more down. Look at the little ore. That's so cool. Hold on. Yeah, there we go. As the music is blaring. Those little ore pieces are so cool. And so the reason those ore pieces are in the game is so you can build buildings and therefore like teleport down vehicles and all sorts of things. Hopefully we can cover those in just a second. Oh, we lost another raider. We're gonna get down to non-customized Rock Raiders in a second. Here we go, we finished the game. Once you're done, all this stuff gets teleported up. And you see a all completed message here. Yeah. And that's how you play a very simple level of Rock Raiders. Let's get to one where we can get some heavy machinery.
Scanners of all the LMS Explorer have been monitoring the movement of large. Build up your base and make sure it's heavily defended.
Okay, this one's a little more challenging, so if I'm quiet, it's because I'm focusing here. Okay. One of the most challenging aspects of the original game was the fact that rock monsters and other dangerous creatures would literally come out of the walls and attack you. This game does not have those implemented yet because it's probably very difficult to code. So, yeah. So it's a little bit easier. It's like playing it on easy mode since the ice monsters won't come out and kill your guys. So, well, they can't kill them, they get teleported out, like I said before. But, yeah, it's playing on easy mode a little bit, but that being said, we can at least see the cool vehicles, because the vehicles are definitely implemented, and that's really useful. So. So now you can see we are constructing our first building. And this will allow us to teleport small vehicles to the cave that we're working in. And it will also allow us to unlock some other buildings such as the power station and the support station, which produces the oxygen we desperately need. So now we need to make a power station after we collect a little bit more ore. Alright, we've upgraded the teleport pad, now we can make a power station. I think we're going to put it right here. And we may as well begin building it since we gotta get it done. And now you can see we are able to use the energy crystals in our stockpile to power the other buildings. So we're gonna need a few more energy crystals and if we want to complete the support station. 24 minutes left of oxygen. I think we have enough energy crystals to complete the support station and produce enough oxygen to survive. There we go, we already have an hour and 15 minutes of oxygen. Now that the support station is done. And our Rock Raiders are back to full health. These buildings look super cool. Only a few of them were actually in the actual sets. The top of the power station is visible in the Rock Raiders HQ, as is the teleport pad. So things like the support station, tool store, and the energy crystal storage area of the power station were not really built. However, these are all shaped like Lego pieces in the game, so you could totally build these on your own at home. So. Oh, I forgot. I can beam a few more friends down to help us. Some of the fun customization options in the game. You can have some of your guys look like ice planet explorers instead of Rock Raiders if you want to. that is super amusing. I love how they're incorporating other classic space themes into this game. Alright, we've got a bunch of energy crystals now. We can start making some other things here. Here's an example of the small spiders in the game. They were a supreme nuisance because the Rock Raiders would trip on them, thereby squashing them. You can change the settings in this game so that they just get squashed and the Rock Raiders don't trip, which I've activated because it's super annoying when your Rock Raider's carrying your last energy crystal back to your base, and he gets delayed by a minute because he slips on the spider and falls down. So. Yeah, that spider is rubble now. He's disappeared. Okay. So we have the super teleport. We probably need a few more energy crystals to really showcase some cool vehicles that we'll be looking at here. How many crystals? 6. I'm using 2 of my 6 crystals to power my base, so I need more energy crystals before I could teleport that down and not have bad consequences. So this is a Hover Scout, which is the same vehicle that you see in the smallest Rock Raider set that Jet would typically pilot. And we will get a rider for this in just a moment. You there. So this is a pretty good, let's go to his shoulder view really quick here. Woo! Oh yes, well the turning is a little bit, whoop, don't want to get caught up on a mountain, there you go. The speed is fantastic, you can just fly with this thing. Whoa, look at this. So this is, oh, let me not move that too fast. It's so cool to see this little vehicle in real life, and you could even just drive it around. You could just be like, whee! There you go. Yeah, this vehicle can't hold anything. It doesn't have any storage capacity except for the Rock Raider on top. So you can just use this to move quicker. I think this would be useful if you were playing a lot over the shoulder or first person mode on the Rock Raider, but other than that, it's not super useful. It's just a little transport. So. Gonna get out of vehicle, and we're gonna beam that up. Leaving behind its crystal. Let's cover the tunnel scout really quick. This is a lot more substantial than the Hover Scout because it's flying. It's got a propeller carrying about a little tiny helicopter. This vehicle can traverse over water and lava. The Hover Scout cannot. So that's important to note. There aren't any visible water or lava in this map that I'm playing on right now. But if you can imagine, this vehicle can go a lot further and in more dangerous places. So it might be useful getting this versus trying to mine around to a different path. So this vehicle has some pretty significant uses. The Tunnel Scout has some weaknesses. The Tunnel Scout has a few weaknesses compared to this one. So. Beam it up. And that one takes 3 crystals versus 1 crystal from the Tunnel Scout. This vehicle is the Small Digger, and it's a little truck with drills in the front. This is, unlike the the Tunnel Scout, which is the helicopter, little helicopter one, this vehicle, the Small Digger, is actually a set. It comes in the Tunnel Transport, the actual physical set, which is another vehicle you can play with in the game. This is a very useful vehicle to have. First of all, it looks cool. It speeds up all the mining processes, and you can mine in hard rock, which the normal Rock Raiders on foot have to use dynamite to get through. So this vehicle can go through it. It takes them a long time, but they can still go through it. It just takes I think it's 5 or 10 minutes. So it's a pretty substantial amount of time invested, but you don't have to deal with the safety hazard of blowing stuff up and possibly sending Rock Raiders up to the LMS Explorer for the rest of the game. So I'm going to send that one back. So this vehicle is another vehicle that exists in the Rock Raiders sets, the physical sets. This is the small transport. This little truck came in the Rock Raiders HQ set as the little ground vehicle. And it doesn't have any drilling capabilities. It can go only over land, but it does have this little storage area in the back. So does the small driller, but that one in the game doesn't actually carry anything. This one can carry up to, I think it's 3 or 4 items, such as ore or energy crystals. So that is super useful, and it goes much faster than a little Rock Raider on the ground. It can carry more, so it greatly speeds up your ability to clean up ores and energy crystals after you've drilled through them. So in a game, when I'm trying to kind of get this level done as quickly as possible, I'll beam down a few of these trucks and win the game faster and beat my high score. So very useful, very cool. Yeah, you could upgrade it to have more storage as well, but it looks a little funky with 2 tippers on the back versus 1. So, all right, the final small vehicle we'll cover in this level is the small mobile mining laser, and it's a little treaded vehicle. It's not very fast, but it does pack a punch. That mining laser is pretty useful. Let's see if I can give you guys an example. X. So we've got our laser, and with the left mouse we can fire the laser. And the reason I'm doing this is when you fire a laser, it uses energy crystals, and they become like decharged, like a battery that's out of power. So you can recharge them at a special wall panel called a recharge seam. That way you can keep firing your lasers without running out of crystals. So if you didn't have a recharge seam, don't shoot the lasers because you'll run out of your energy crystals and you might not be able to win the game. In this case, we have a recharge seam right over next to our base, so we're going to start lasering a few walls just for the visual effects. And fire 1, and 2. There we go. That's a bit quicker than a Rock Raider just drilling it on their own. I'm not going to shoot any of my friends, so X. There you go. And it's... Let's see if we have used a energy crystal. Nope, we haven't used up a full energy crystal yet. So we're still good. But if you shoot that like another 2 times, it will use up a crystal, and they'll have to carry that crystal over to this recharge seam here. And then they could recharge the crystal. So it creates an extra step of work, but the mining laser is pretty useful when you just feel like blasting away at stuff. The bigger the vehicle, the more powerful and more efficient the laser is. The last vehicle I'm going to last small vehicle I'm going to mention is the Rapid Rider. We don't have any water in this level, and I'm not going to play another level that has water just to show you that vehicle, but it's basically a transport vehicle. It can carry 1 item in the back, and it can go on water, which is more useful than, say, the transport truck or something else. So it has many specific uses in different levels. The cargo carrier is another vehicle that we're not going to cover because it's only in water. That can carry small ground vehicles such as the hover scout, the small driller, and the small transport truck, and the small mining laser, all inside of it over water. So that eliminates the water disability if you're able to kind of navigate the vehicle onto there and over across. It's a little bit of extra command work, but it makes for some fun challenges in the game. So now we're going to start looking at some of the bigger vehicles. I think we have enough crystals. Requirements, super teleport level 1, mining laser. Okay, so we can't get the large mobile laser cutter either. This isn't a set, it's just a vehicle. It's about the size of a chrome crusher, but it only has 2 lasers on top. So it's exclusively a laser vehicle, and that's pretty cool, but we have to have a specific building for it, and I'm not going to go out of my way to build that for you guys right now. So let's cover the loader dozer. Wowzers. So this is a lot bigger than the other vehicles that we were just looking at. Let's go to shoulder view. Yeah. It also has a great turning circle. Look at that. That's awesome. So it is exactly the same size as it is in bricks in the set. You can even turn on the lights, I believe. Let's see. So unlike the smaller vehicles, you can turn on the lights. Let's go back to shoulder view. So the headlights shine ahead, so if the cavern is a little dark, it'll illuminate it. So this thing can very, very quickly clear rubble, so if you have a larger drilling vehicle that's making its way through the caverns, this can come up right behind it and just scoop up all that rubble really fast versus having the little Rock Raiders take it by hand. So the more vehicles you have, the quicker all these processes happen, the more fun the game becomes, because these are really fun to just drive around and see operating inside the cave. So look at that turning circle, and let's go this way. Gonna go back to base. I love these big black wheels, they look so cool. Alrighty, we're back. And we're gonna beam this loader dozer back up because we're going to get to the next vehicle. Oops. That crystal just went flying away. There you go. Awesome. Alright. And we're going to need to mine some more crystals with the granite grinders. This is another great... Look at the back. It's got those pulsating electric... those turbo boosters are looking really cool. And this one... It's got a really cool walking motion. This is just the coolest thing. We're going to go drill some hard rock. It's worth mentioning this is... faster than the small driller, but slower than the chrome crusher. It's also more affordably priced than the chrome crusher, so it has a purpose. Although I normally just go straight to the chrome crusher, save up enough crystals for that. See, that went pretty quickly through the hardest drillable material in the game, the hard rock. So we're gonna actually use the drilling mechanism on this. And we might get some avalanches in our face. I know this vehicle's pretty sturdy against it, but still. And the little Rock Raiders working behind us here. Ooh, nice. That'll give us enough crystals to afford a chrome crusher. Thankfully, this vehicle's pretty chonky, pretty beefy, so that landslide doesn't hurt him too bad. So. Look at that. That is cool. Let's drill some walls. Actually, I'll leave it right there because we've got enough crystals and we have a wall that's not going to cave in on us. If it's a corner, that wall isn't going to cave in. That sound effect is awesome. Alrighty, we're ooh. Okay, turned around there. Alright. Beaming this back up. We use 5 crystals. That's a lot of crystals. But we're about to get a bunch more, so we can afford something much bigger and much cooler. The Chrome Crusher. Get a driver over here. You, UFO guy, you can go in there. So this is one of the coolest vehicles in the game. Oops, I accidentally drilled a wall. Let me reinforce that real quick. Oh. And now I've done it. All right. There we go. Get you out of there. Alright, as I was trying to say, this is one of the coolest vehicles in the game. It's very slow, but it does a lot. On the one side you have the drill, which can drill through anything, and pretty quickly. On the other side you have a radar dish, which can show you what's behind the wall you're drilling. So unlike the granite grinder, which just drills, this can see what kind of rock or unexplored caverns are behind, so you don't accidentally drill the wrong one. On the top, you have a very powerful mining laser, which you can turn on and then shoot and just vaporize weaker rock types if you want to do it from a distance. So say you had an avalanche problem like we do in this cave, you could just shoot it from a little ways away and not damage your vehicle. So, very cool. Let's go drill something with it. I want to try this sucker out. It's a pretty good turning circle, even for a big vehicle like this. And that entire half of the cave is dealt with. Let's roll ourselves back to the teleport, and we can get the last vehicle we want to talk about in this level. Chrome Crusher. Oh yeah. Super cool. And we're beaming it up, Scotty. Oh, look at all those crystals go flying. Alright. The last vehicle we'll cover in this little playthrough is the Tunnel Transport. And this is an actual set. It's built to look exactly like the set in real life. We're going to get a driver, or in this case actually a pilot, since it flies. It's a very, very powerful advantage. We're going to get my guy here. You're going to get in that. Get in there. Okay. Let's turn on the lights and go shoulder view. We're flying about as high as the power station. The big advantage of having a giant flying vehicle is it can go over lava, water, anything, even the corners of mountains to a certain extent. You got a little hung up there. And it can carry, I think it's 7 or 8 materials at one time. So if you have piles of ore that your Chrome Crusher and Loader Dozer and other things have created, this can go pick it up in a flash, fly it back to base over any obstacle, and unload it. So this thing is awesome. And in some of the biggest levels of the Rock Raiders video game, I have used these guys extensively. I've had 2 or 3 of these flying around at once, and you can empty out a huge cave system very quickly with these guys. The Rock Raiders are very efficient with these awesome, massive vehicles. So, super cool to see this. It's kind of impractical how 4 tiny propellers would hold this up, but maybe those pads on the corners are actually like those Hover Scout, you know, like the Hover Scout engines in there. So it's got just many ways to float in the air, but pretty cool nonetheless. I'm going to zoom out here and beam it up. There's all 10 energy crystals rolling around. Let's put those back in. And all the crystals get kept in the power station. All the ore gets put in the tool store until you get the ore refinery. I never really bothered with the ore refinery since you can just put them in the tool store instead. And the energy crystals, they just kind of prefer to throw it in the power station. They can still put it in the tool station. Anyway, really enjoyed this game. There's, I don't know how many levels. I think there's like 30 or 40 levels. And they get increasingly difficult as you go on. So the more vehicles you have, the quicker and easier things become. There's some initial challenges like oxygen. There's slimy slugs, there's rock monsters, but those last two things haven't been put in the game, this version of the game, yet. So hopefully the creator of this version will make those and implement those soon, because I'd love to play it with a little more challenge added to it. Even though it is can be pretty difficult, there's one level I've never beaten. The lava just erodes the land too quickly, and I've never been able to defeat it. But yeah, thank you for watching this segment of the video. We're going to catch up with myself and Mark back in the studio. Rock Raiders. They did a little bit of Power Miners a few years later. I think it was 2007 or 8. So that was a couple of years later. They kind of revived it a little bit, in spirit anyway. Mm-hmm. Now, we haven't seen Power Miners or Rock Raiders in a long time, but Mark, if there was something that you could bring back from this, be it characters, sets, parts. Yeah. What are some of the things that you'd want to see in modern sets, even if it was a city or something else? So.
The monster, the Rock Raider monster.
Yeah, the rock monster.
And, yes, and they did with the power miners.
They actually
came out with the little ones.
Yeah, exactly. They made the small colorful ones. I think we have quite a few of them behind us in the background.
There we go. Yeah, so that's the kind of stuff, the extra characters.
Yeah. Awesome.
And the monsters.
I know for me, it would be some more chrome stuff.
More chrome.
Because they had small chrome pieces, the large chrome drills, and a few other colorful details that modern sets do an amazing job with colors, but some of these things that they experimented with in the early 2000s and the 1990s, they haven't brought back, and so I would love to see a little bit of more flair there. Because, like, for example, I hate to bring it up, but Nexonites did a really good job with some of those older colors, especially in the windshields, so that people could kind of use those old classic colors in a fun way. I would love to see neon green like this become a little more prevalent, chrome, so some of those things I would just absolutely love to see again. But maybe one day, maybe
if they come out with the collectible minifigures.
Exactly.
And are you going to bring up the Chief too?
Yes. We talked about the characters a little bit, but one figure here that's pretty special is this Chief minifigure. Now this one is very used because me and Steven both got one off of Bricklink when we were probably 12 or 13. And he was only probably maybe $20 back then, and with the other two Rock Raiders characters, which were available in the sets. But now he is extremely expensive.
Were they sold in the U.S.?
I don't know where they were sold. I'll have to check on Brickset or something afterwards, but I know that they were hard to find.
Super rare.
Yeah, they might have been only in Europe.
That's the first time I've seen one.
It's the first time you've seen one? That's awesome, yeah. He was also featured prominently in the video game, which we'll have seen a minute ago. But he's a pretty fun character. Like I said, he's super beat up. His right arm is basically loose because the torso's been used so much. It's still not. It's got a little crack on the side, but it's still functional. Yeah. That's the original teal arm as well, which for a while was the only teal minifigure arm that you could get until some of the new stuff. Right. Now they have teal minifigure hands and arms again, so that's not as rare, but the prints still are. So. Yeah, so that's cool. I'm glad I have even a very used one because I don't really want to spend loads of money. Yeah, I mean, I've seen them go for $700, $800. It's crazy, and probably more of that now. So, thank you so much, Mark, for coming in and chatting with me about Rock Raiders. This is a lot of fun.
Yes, thanks for having me.
Absolutely.
Next time when you do M-Tron, maybe I'll come back.
When we do some other themes, like especially trains and M-Tron, we need to go over again a little bit more thoroughly. We'll bring you back on for sure.
All right, Mark. Thank you.
Yep. Thanks, guys, for tuning in. We sure appreciate it. Don't forget to hit the like, comment, and subscribe buttons. It always helps the algorithm. We sure appreciate it. And you guys have an excellent day. Bye-bye.